those thesis statements that are on the placemat right now, but kicks it up a notch so that it does the following things. Scores a 1 according to the RA rubric from Marco that you have on your table. Serves as a guide to score in the 3-4 range for evidence and commentary. And serves as a guide for the writer to earn the sophistication point. So once we're done with the individual piece of sharing out your individual thesis statements, you become a group thesis team. Okay, and we want your team to be moving in the 1-point direction for defensible thesis, the 3-4 point directions for evidence and commentary, and that 1 point for sophistication. So it's going to take some discussion about fiery diction, powerful verbs. Let me ask you, do you have to name the strategy or the choice that the author has included in his or her speech?
Nope.
No. What must you do if you don't name it? Describe it. Okay, so in that sense, verbs help us out a lot. Okay, George W. Bush persuades, George W. Bush conveys, those kind of things, okay? Are we ready to start sharing out our individual thesis statements? Okay, I'm going to be popping by tables to listen in. I am literally eavesdropping, okay? I'll verbally add if I feel I need to, but I'm listening to you read your own thesis statements. Take 10 seconds right now, decide the order at your table because we don't need that mess. 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's hear it.
George W. Bush's language choices provided a powerful message to Americans who desperately needed hope. His usage of collective pronouns and promises of a strong economy created a unified image of America.
Well done. Well done.
That's a big revision.
Yeah, sure it is, and that's the process, isn't it? And I want you guys to recognize this revision process as an individual is really key to moving the thesis toward the 1 point, but to moving it to be the outline to help you with the evidence and commentary, okay? And so what I'm noticing is that it went from this huge piece here to a much more precise statement of thesis, right? But I'm looking for something here. Did you guys notice anything missing? Okay. George W. Bush's language choices provided a powerful message to Americans who desperately needed hope. Is that what George Bush wanted to convey on that night? Yep, it was. His usage of collective pronouns and promises of a strong economy create a unified image of America. Okay, he created the unified image, but what does the audience do? Do you see? And it's very easy to go down that path where you say what the speaker does, right? But our job as rhetorical analysis writers is to convey to that reader that you know what the audience is supposed to do. What does the speaker invite, encourage, inspire, motivate, persuade the audience to do? You're almost there. You're so close. Let's see what you come up with. Now, listen to everybody else's thesis. You might hear it. Okay? All right. You guys are still waiting for Jesse to finish. Okay, we'll hop over to another time. We'll be right back.
These people did amazing. They're like, oh my gosh, I did so bad.
Okay. Gina, will you read yours out loud for me?
Please.
George Bush's address to the 9/11 attack. Bush emphasized hope and calmness to try to prevent chaos and influence the American people to remain strong while also trying to communicate to the terrorists on the terror and destruction they have caused.
Very nice. That's excellent. And you've done a phenomenal job mastering the language. So nice. I love it. There's one piece missing though.
Confidence.
Okay, well, but who needed to have the confidence? Oh, you mean from Sydney? Yeah. Well, but that's always going to be the case because even though outwardly it doesn't appear so, she is kind of a little bit introverted. And so she's looking at me like, Alvarez. There's something in the content of the thesis that's missing. When we talk about purpose, you have implied everything that needs to be implied. That the reader of your essay is going to want to see that you absolutely, without a doubt, understand understand what the speaker wanted his audience to do. What does George W. Bush need for his audience to do?
What verb do you want?
Say that? Unite. Yes, that's the key word. And unite for what reason?
Evokes, conveys,
To fight against.
Unite in the fight or unite to support the war on terrorism or the military retaliation. Either phrase works, right? So as you look at the rest of the thesis statements, if that's included, remember the bits and pieces from each one that you guys really thought were strong. Maybe that's what you put together as your group thesis. Okay? Think about that. Nice job, though. Nice job. How are we doing over here? Okay. Can I ask you, Lucas, to read yours out loud for us as a group, just so I can hear it?
President George W. Bush, in order to prevent chaos and enforce American people's confidence in America, delivered a riling and assertive speech, incorporating strong language that unified him and the people of America.
You covered a lot of the pieces of a pretty excellent thesis statement, but there's one thing I'm noticing isn't there. And here, what part of the purpose?
Wait, I also don't have context in there.
Okay, so you're noticing context is missing. I think context is there a little bit because you're talking about the president in order to, what does this say? Prevent chaos, right? That implies something. What would cause the chaos? The attacks, but then what about the response of the American people to the attacks? Was there panic on that day? Does panic not lead to chaos if we don't get it under control? Okay, so he wanted to not have chaos, but then that's part of what he's trying to convey. That's his message. What does he need for his audience to do? You said unite. I think you said unite, didn't you?
Unified?
Unify, right? And that's a synonym for unite in a sense, but unify for what reason? Oh, yeah, what are you thinking? To support him in the war?
To support the idea of the U.S. going to war.
The idea of the U.S. going to war. So we need to support, the audience needs to take the action of supporting the U.S. going to war. What's another way to say that? Fewer words, more sophisticated language.
To support a retaliation against the terrorists.
Yes, what kind of retaliation?
Unified
Okay, unified. Military. See why there is power in the table doing this the first time? Okay? Remember, everything we just talked about, consider each one of these thesis statements. Okay? Which pieces of each one are you going to combine to make your group thesis? That's where you're going right now. Okay? Nice job, you guys. Nice job. All right. Where are we over here? Has everybody read by now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask one of you to read your thesis to me because I want to hear what we're thinking about. Well, how about we have a volunteer? Who wants to read to me? Okay, that'd be awesome.
In President George W. Bush's somber yet hopeful speech delivered on the evening of 9/11 to both the American people and the terrorists who perpetrated the attack, he vividly illustrates the graphic imagery of the event and its aftermath, includes a parallel structure between America's foundation and the foundation of its buildings, and conveys that the money of Americans is safe, to give Americans hope after this tragedy and encourage them to support a war against the terrorists that caused 9/11.
It's there. You have it all. You have the speaker, you have the context, you have the exigence, you have the what are my other words that I'm looking for? Audience, and you have the purpose. You've got both parts. Okay, I want to hear one more thesis from this table. I have a sneaky suspicion that maybe we nailed it the first try individually. Thought you could share yours? Okay, let me hear it.
While Bush employs deliberate rhetorical choices such as shifts, tone shifts, parallel phrases, and emphasis on people and to emotional aspects of the slaves era. He also managed to effectively unite and empower the country, preventing social unrest during this unexpected time of crisis.
Excellent. What's the one piece that's missing? Well, go a little bit further. What does he need support for? War. So what is the call to action for the audience? To support the war. And what is another way to say support the war in a more sophisticated style? Think other words that might convey that same phrase, support the war. A war involves what?
Taxes, money.
You're onto something there. So this war is going to cost the American people some money, right? Okay, so but what force does Bush have the power to send out? Oh, Congress has to declare the war, but then in doing so, what force goes out to represent us and fight this war? The military. Okay, so then he needs for the American people to support the military? What are the military doing? Say that again? Okay, they've been training, he says in his speech, they're already prepared. The military is strong and prepared, right? But when they go out, are they not retaliating against the terrorists? Okay, and so what if we said instead of support the war, what if we said something like, in order to convince the American people to support the military retaliation? Does that make sense? Fantastic, you guys. Nice work. Love it. All right, let me see what's happening over here. We're already writing our group thesis.
We're not supposed
Nice.
to.
No, you're good. Keep going. Let me see what you come up with. No pressure, Colin.
Okay, no pressure.
Marco, I just glass it. I did this.
Wait, let me see what you wrote.
What were you saying?
Wait, I have a question.
Okay, I want you to stop right there. Following the 9/11 terrorist attacks, President George W. Bush's address to the American people. Well, you don't have to put both audiences. That's not necessary at this point, unless it's going to be in your body paragraph. So you need the evidence, right? So we got to think about that. But what you have so far gives me speaker. It gives me context. It gives me audience. Right? What else do I need? Exigence. What made George W. Bush deliver the speech? Yep. Feel that he needed to deliver the speech. Okay. What else do I need? We have S.
Yeah, speaking.
What comes next in space? We're not in choices yet. That's body paragraphs. We're in space. We have speaker, we have audience, we have context.
Purpose.
We need purpose, and purpose is twofold, meaning that there are two parts to it. What are the two parts of purpose?
To reassure citizens that the nation is strong and the money is safe.
Reassure Americans that the nation is strong and the money is safe. What part of our nation in particular does he want us to understand is strong? The economy, yes, and then what else? Who is going to go out and the government is going to approve what? Military action, attack, okay. So we also know that our military is strong, right? So you have purpose in terms of what he wants to convey. What does he need the American people to do?
Support.
Support. No, they don't have to support Congress. Congress can declare war whether they have the support of the American people or not. He needs for the American people to unify behind what? The war effort. Excellent. We're there. Okay? I want you to remember that when you finish writing this thesis. Okay? Because we need that part of purpose in here in order to score one on thesis and to remind us what we're looking for evidence to do. And then what are we going to use in our commentary? What are we going to write about in our commentary? I used that verb use, didn't I? What are we going to write about in our commentary that proves we understand the evidence accomplishes the purpose that the speaker wanted to? Okay? You there? Excellent. All right. I'm going to move to another table and keep going.
I don't think we need to rewrite.
Start writing your group thesis.
Bro, we just need to write what I
What are we starting with? It's not easy, is it? That's why this is an AP class and you chose us right. Okay, so I'm trying to give you the tools you need to make it easier on the exam day. Yeah, I did have it. Do you want to use a highlighter and go through and highlight the strong points of each thesis? Would that help you to see it? Okay, so you've got a couple highlighters here, or you could underline or circle or whatever. You use some highlighters. Okay.